John Conde, uh, I can't say enough about how thrilled I am to have you. Yeah.
Oh God,
Oh my God. That I know.
you scared me, Pete.
That's how low this thing has come. Man, listen, it's so great to see you, John. T- You and I did hundreds of shows together, easily.
Yeah, we did a lot.
We did a lot of shows together. Tell me, where. First off, where did you grow up at?
West side of Cleveland. Grew up in Tremont and then Old Brooklyn.
Nice. And when were you a rowdy youth?
Oh my God, dude. I was in a lot of trouble. I went to 5 different high schools, Pete. Um, but high school was when I got into the music scene too. My brother, he played in bands. I was the natural born roadie, and then they were at a gig, and his sound guy got drunk and puked all over, and they threw me behind the board
The natural progression.
and said, "When he plays a lead, push this up and turn that," meaning the fader and the effects. I said, "I could do that,"
Yeah.
and there it was.
And there it was.
And toyed with it all along, man. All through my time in the military. If I was in country, if I was in the U.S., guys that have bands and shit in the fucking army, they suck. But
What was the name of your brother's band?
he played in Schemer. He played in Cleveland. He played originally in a band called Black Dust.
Cleveland was a popular band in
It
Cleveland.
was. It was.
Yeah.
They did pretty good. And I think he played with the Hobbit. He played with a bunch of
Nice. And
80s glam rock bands.
and what took you to the military from roadie? How'd you go from roadie to military?
I hated living at home.
I was waiting for court order, but that's okay too.
And I wanted to leave. I just wanted to get out of Cleveland. You got to
Yeah.
remember, Pete, it was back when, let's see, the steel mills had just shut down. Cleveland had just defaulted. There wasn't nothing going there. I just
Bro,
wanted
I
to get
know.
out. So I got out of there. I went to the Army. I went to Fort Base KIT, all that. And I ended up at Fort Bragg, North Carolina at the 82nd Airborne. And they send you all over.
The
They
flaming
send you all.
mug.
You get to go to all kinds of fun places.
Yeah,
But
interesting people.
yeah, you do. And that's as far as I'm going with that. So I got out, jerked around for a couple of years, was going to Cleveland State, and needed money. So what did I do? I went and bought a PA, Pete, with a 16-channel Q-Tech board, a couple BGW amps, some old loaded earthquake bins,
Oh yeah.
some Altec Lansing Voice of the Theater 12s, and
Yeah,
some
baby.
PB 1-inch horns on top.
Yeah,
And I
baby.
was somebody. And I
Yeah.
started doing gigs, man, and it just progressed from there. I never finished college. At the time I got out of school, I had 2 or 3 systems, bars in Lakewood, and I was renting out around. And
John, what year was this that you got your
this
first
is
PA?
like 1988 to 1990. And I know a little later than that, 90. And then this was going on up until about 94. Because by then I was working with a Roberus and I was renting them a system. And then I went and I ran across Bob Bach, who I knew. RCS had some systems downtown. It's one of them fucking street fests. And I mixed the Sky Dogs, a buddy of mine's band. And Bach was like, "Here, call me. I want you to come work for me, dude. Dude, hey, call me."
Dude.
So, and I knew him. He managed some of my brother's bands years ago. And I started doing some gigs with them. And next thing you know, they bought up all my equipment and me along with it. And that's when I met you.
Ah, ah.
And that's when I met you.
So that was the transition.
That was the transition. I was tired of dealing with fucking bands. I was tired of dealing with bar owners, and instead I got to go deal with Jerry Jers. But see, it kind of prepared me, but not really.
Yeah, pick your poisons, right?
Choose your poison.
Pick your poisons. Now you were mixing a Roberos, in which was a local hippie jam band. Because Cleveland at that time in that early '90s, it's hard to explain to people like how much live music was really happening at the time.
You could still make a living doing local music. I mean,
You
not a
could
good
make
living, but
you could
you
make a
could make a
living.
living. You could make a living. I mean, I owned a house. Yeah, so I got to add. I mean, along the way, I was doing all these jam bands, but I had done some work out west when I got out of the service initially as a stagehand and with Bill Graham Presents. So of course I ended up working a couple of Dead shows, which got me into that whole Grateful Dead thing because I know you were wanting to know about that.
Yeah, back up for a second, right? So
that's in the 80s.
Like yeah. Let's take a minute.
87.
86 to 87. I'm a douchebag playing in a heavy metal band. Playing Military Towns. What's funny, John, is that I might have been at the Flaming Mug in Fayetteville at the exact same time that you were there.
I know that club.
Of course you do. Of course you do. This is the first time we connect.
Wild brawls in there, man.
Oh, bro, don't you know? Don't you know?
Drunken times.
Drunken times, getting chased out by everything. But so you get out of the military, and how do you end up on the West Coast?
Okay, so in late '84, I got wounded, and they sent me.
Tell that story.
I got hit with shrapnel down in Central America.
Okay.
I was evacuated to a Navy ship and sent to San Diego to a naval hospital there.
I told that story to my wife this morning. And the funny part that you're leaving out, as you once told me, is that when the mortar went off, you told me that your rifle hit you in the nose and you were covered in blood. And
my rifle on my arm hit my nose and broke my nose. And they thought it was a head trauma. So they were like, fucking, he's hit the head and get him out of here. And I'm covered in blood and my mouth's all busted open and shit.
Yeah.
I don't really remember because I was in shell shock, but
sure.
I come to and they're telling me all this. And I remember being on a chopper and them looking for a head wound and going, he doesn't have a head wound, and they're, are you sure? I remember that. And so, and long story short, they sent me to Fort Riley, Kansas, to finish up my time with the 1st Division, the Big Red One, the Big Green Weenie, as we called it. And I got out there, and right away I was, I remember now there. This is how I met the Deadheads first. They had acid. They had the LSD, the Deadheads in Manhattan, Kansas. Right? There's a college there. So I met all these Deadheads I used to get all this acid from because in the Army, that shit don't show up on P-tests. Everybody trips in the Army. It doesn't show up on a urinalysis. So I had that connection and, man, I took a job driving a truck and I just, Pete, I had wanderlust. I was young. I wanted to go to the fucking West Coast. So I went to the West Coast.
Yeah, baby.
Just like that. I had driven a truck out there a couple of times and said, I'm going. And once they learned, Bill Graham Presents learned that I had some rigging experience, I was their guy because I had done all the helicopter shit. So I was down rigging and stagehanding at their shows. And of course, I kept going to the audio, whoever the audio was, I kept going over there. And that was my interest. I mean, it had been in high school, what have not. And, I didn't know what the hell I was looking at, but I was looking at it.
Well, it was more interesting to you than ropes, knots, and shackles.
Yeah, and you know what? I just wanted to mix. I mean, that
Yeah.
was the thing. I always wanted to mix. So I ended up getting on audio at a lot of the shows I worked, and it progressed. You know, the progression. And when I came home, I just was the one thing I knew how to do besides fix stuff. And I was in college and needed money, and I just went that route, man. Put together a piece of shit PA and have fun.
Yeah, but it was yours and you had a great time and you were as you say, man. I mean, it's unfathomable for some kid in his early 20s just to get a small PA, go out with some local bands and make enough money to buy a house. you
Yeah,
know,
that ain't happening nowadays.
that is not happening nowadays for many reasons, and the primarily reason is just the great live entertainment scene that existed in this country when people used to go out and
It's
hear live
weak.
music. Yeah.
It's weak. I mean, I don't I don't see it coming back because they're making money without spending money, and they'll keep doing that, I believe.
Oh,
You know,
well, isn't that 100% true? And
and
didn't you just nail it?
these fucking kids, they don't know what they're missing. They don't even know what they're missing out on,
Yeah.
and the fun and the good times that could to be had. I mean, their idea of good music is a baby voice for fucking three verses, and then a continuous beat that never changes, and then some fucker rapping on it over the next two verses back to the baby voice. And it's like, what the hell is that, man?
Bro, I go
What
out and
the fuck is that?
I go out and still do it, man.
I
I go out
know.
and still do it, and I put together these sound systems that, like, compared to the stuff that we used to do. I mean, these rigs are unbelievable,
Beautiful,
fucking
man. So much
believable.
control, man.
The
For what?
modern sound systems are incredible. People
They're
don't
beautiful.
understand how shitty concerts used to sound.
Oh, they don't know what we had to deal with, man. I mean, you were EQing boxes. You weren't EQing rooms. You were EQing boxes, man. And I mean, ugh,
It was tough.
that
It was
people,
tough.
my last 5 years, I did all corporate work
Yeah.
with a company that had the top of the line Meyer systems, line arrays,
Plug it in,
small,
turn it up. Sounds great.
small, medium, large, and it was so nice. I mean, I was their entertainment division. We did like Seal down in the Cayman Islands, and whoever was guest at these corporate events. But it was just so nice when I got back into it. Because for years before that, I was just production managing shows. I wasn't mixing. When I came here from about I don't know 2000 to 2005, 2006, all I did was manage, stage manage, and production manage. I was at venues down here, the Promo West Pavilion and the New Partners work for Promo West. They're the they're the I don't know, the Lecantes of Columbus. So I won't call them the Belkins of Columbus. The
but you,
Lecantes.
but you, honorable mention. That's great.
So what about us, Pete? We've had man, so many shows.
Well,
And
John,
that was in the
you and I have done so many shows together. And let's talk about one that I remember specifically that you and I did, where we had a lot of laughs, and that was the Akron Rib Cook-Off.
oh my god. Yeah.
Let's slow this down for the Akron Rib Cook-Off. Right? We get a load-in day, right? Or,
Yeah.
or did we not?
We got a whole day to load in.
I thought we got a
We,
whole day to load it because then we started early the next day.
yep.
And we had 3 total stages at the site,
We were the
right?
big stage. Yeah,
and
we
we
were
were
the
on,
big.
and we were the big stage, and it was me and you. You were the front of house mixer,
Yep.
and
And you
I
were on the
was
rock.
and I was the guy on stage. And when back then, when me and you did it, it was a two-man job. One man mixed on stage, mixed on the house, and the other
Yeah.
guy on stage did everything. Did mic'd all the bands, did all the AC, moved all the wedges, and mixed monitors. You know,
Yep.
now I've got a team of humans that do that job. But
We did so much with so little for so long that we didn't know any better, and we thought
well,
we were, we thought we were it.
we're making it happen.
We were making it happen, Pete.
Making
Right?
it happen. But Bob Stegmiller, who owned the lighting company and who was the client for that show, he was with the lighting company, and we got there, and it was raining. It was drizzling. And I said, Bob, we're supposed to have a tent here for the cover the monitor position. And he had his flunkies put up a tent, and it wasn't tied down to anything. I said, Bob, I'm not gonna unpack any of the gear until you do something with tent. Tent doesn't even have walls,
Yeah.
it's not tied to nothing. And I swear to God, as I say, Bob Stigmiller says to me, that tent is not going anywhere. And the wind came and right, and it blew that fucking tent away. And that was day one. That was day one. Right? Day two is when we had
Was that Roger Trout?
Zap with Roger.
Oh my God.
Who said the funniest fucking thing that I've ever heard in my life, John Conde, and I swear to God, I still say to this day, that guy goes to the front of the stage, takes the mic and says, all right, everybody, before we get this party started, we got to get all the good-looking people to the front and all the ugly people to the back. And it looks down at this guy and goes, come on, man, you know you belong back there.
I was in front of the house going, am I supposed to fucking turn this down or something? This is not, I didn't know what to fucking do. I just fucking left it. And I looked at the guy next to me, they always have their puppy out front to tell you how to mix the show. Or
yeah. It was fucking funny, man.
I remember we had a I guess Black Music Day, then we had Country Day, and we had a Rock and Roll Day.
I remember nothing from the Country Day.
And I remember the Country Day. All I remember is I can't remember who the headliner was, but it was like noon and it was 95 fucking degrees out. And the sun was just beating down on these people. They all were trying to sit up front and they're like out there melting in the sun. And I put on that Johnny Cash's last album,
I remember that.
It's just like fucking funeral music.
I remember that.
Johnny Cash on an acoustic guitar, real slow, singing about death and dying, man. And fucking, I remember that.
He was doing
so fucking hard, man.
He was doing that night of stills. I hurt myself today. And you're right. Nobody could complain because it was Johnny Cash.
It was the only country music I had with me. What could I do, man? I didn't carry country music with me back then. I don't carry country music with me now.
It was 95 degrees.
It was
people
so
like because where the stage was, like they're literally sitting in the street on the asphalt.
Pavement, on the pavement. And I remember the next day was crazy because we had like Fog Hat and Lover Boy and
I remember
and you and Jim Dandy. Who was the Jim Dandy band? You
Black Oak, Arkansas.
Black Oak, Arkansas. Yeah, they were there. And it was just like
I forgot all about them and Foghat. I only remember Loverboy.
And Foghat's drummer was offering us money for the fucking FL4 that he had for a drum monitor. He loved that shit.
I'll take that with me.
You had taken the FL4 from a side fill and gave it, or I don't know. He loved it.
I did
You were
something
bumping
stupid. Yeah, probably.
And I just remember though, the funniest thing of that day was you up on stage with the Loverboy singer from Loverboy. And he was big and fat, man. And he had this vest on.
And he had he still had the red headband.
You were feeding him fucking powdered donuts.
I was.
You were like, here. And he's eating into fucking powdered donut, powder's going all over him. And you're looking at me and laughing, and I'm laughing. And fucking, then he goes out on stage, man, like, and he's covered in fucking powdered sugar. And he starts singing.
Hey, buddies.
Working for the week. And then
covered donut
he
dust.
came in, Pete, after the show, and I came upstage for something, and I just remember him like thanking you or something, and you said, you should get together at Meatloaf and start a new band. You can call it Lover Loaf.
A meat lover's tour.
And the fucking dude's jaw hit the floor and he walked away. Lover Loaf. Yeah, there were just certain things to that gig that, man.
Do you remember the accident at that gig at the other stage?
Oh, where the tower came down.
Oh,
was that it?
Yeah.
The scaffolding tower came down.
Not everything was funny at that gig.
No, I remember that. That was bad.
You know, the radio station had put their stupid banner on the tower.
And they never anchored it.
And I went over there and told them to take it down. They said, "Who are you?" And I said, "Take it down." And I told our guys, whoever those morons were, don't let them do it. And the wind came through, and it took the whole PA down onto a picnic table where a whole family was sitting there.
Yeah, I remember that. It was
our
people. I won't mention who it was that wouldn't do anything because it was his client. But dummies.
Oh my God, John!
The thing is, he was a production guy. He knew better. That's the thing. But
to know and not to act is not to know.
Yeah, he was.
There's knowing and then acting. Oh my God, John! That show was so funny. But our boss, Bob Bach, right? And I told him, we did a podcast together. I told him that, Bob always told me about being in Asia and having a gun in his mouth with these people going, "We want concert," and then the irony that he would send me into exact situation where we would end up with guns in our mouths.
We want concerts.
We want concert. What are the odds?
That was just the most bizarre fucking night, man. Between the weather, the people, and the lighting, it was just eerie, man. The minute it got dark, and it was weird, man.
Well, let's slow it down a click, right? First off, when he told me of what the gig was, that we were going to do Molly Hatchet, Leslie West, and Starship for a biker party. Where was it? Do you remember?
It was either in Lorain or Western Medina County, or Western Medina County. It was on a farm. It was some fucking farm field, man.
Yeah, it was in bumfuck Egypt
with two semi-trailers
pulled up to each other
like this. They backed them up to each other like that,
two flatbeds
side by side, and laid plywood over the top of it.
Yeah, and I remember telling Bach that taking this show was a bad idea, and he called me. He said, "You know what? You're a big pussy." That's exactly what he said to me. Right. And if you remember, you and I were going to do a show called Rock and Reggae
the next morning.
the very next morning.
See, and that's the shit I was telling my wife about, and she was laughing so hard, saying this rig is supposed to be loaded in at 7 a.m. out east at Meadow Ridge Farms or whatever it was, and
Let alone that. Honestly, asking two human beings even to do that is too much. Oh, by the
yeah,
way, guys, I want you to do this festival till 3 o'clock
it's
in the
illegal.
morning. Drive it, drive it straight.
It's illegal in this country,
It's
actually,
illegal,
but
it's illegal in this country. So you and I are the audio techs, and we go out and go out to load this thing in at this farm, and it was like as you say, it was a big corner of a field, of a big field,
the lowest corner in the field.
the lowest corner in the field.
Corner in the field.
And we had driven down like some long private road,
Gravel,
cornfields,
going down into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And what I remember is that it had to be like triple digit heat during the day.
Oh, it was terrible. It was 100 degrees.
100 degrees. I remember just being exhausted walking from front of house to the stage.
Drenched. Oh,
Yeah.
humid. Just as nasty as it could possibly be.
Yeah.
I mean, and I remember pulling in and they were putting the wooden framing up for the big blue boat tarp that was the roof.
The boat tarp.
The boat tarp roof.
And it was me and you. It was Frank Ravito as the lighting guy.
He came in on his own in a truck, and Tommy Stazzone was there.
And Tommy Stazzone was the backline guy. Brought the backline for those three groups. And at that time, I had done a bunch of gigs with Leslie West.
Yeah.
At the Agora. Like he came to the Agora as him. He came through opening for Bad Company. He came through.
You knew him.
I knew him.
You guys were on a first name basis.
Yeah.
I remember that.
But Leslie was fucking cool, man. So what do you remember from anything in the afternoon up until sound checks and all that shit?
Well, I remember from the get-go, we were just like, this is not good. This isn't happening.
Yeah.
And I remember being really concerned about the generator placement and saying, we can't have this here. If it rains, this is all going to be underwater.
Oh, and it was right behind the stage too. So the diesel fumes from the generator were going right under the stage.
By the end of the night, I could have just dove off the back of the stage if I wanted to.
Yeah.
Right into the water. But yeah, I don't remember much until the gig started and it started fucking raining.
And the band that was on stage was Molly Hatchet. And what was happening in the audience was bikers with tents. Right? Yeah. You remember all those tents that they had?
Yeah.
Because they were camping there for the weekend or some kind of
it was a fucking party, man.
Hillbilly biker party fucking thing. And they were completely uncool to us from the minute we got there.
Oh yeah, they were assholes.
They were complete assholes. Like there was not one, hey man, not one cool moment amongst us. And then it started to rain.
And then the rain. Oh.
I think that the temperature had to drop 40 degrees, man.
Oh, it got cold, man. It got fucking cold. And it rained and it fucking poured and the roof came in.
The boat tarp roof collapsed.
It collapsed.
And I remember me, you, and Leslie West at front of house, right? And we're all three holding down the tent.
Oh, tent. So it wouldn't blow away.
It's Leslie West going, Pete, we're in a bad spot.
Bad spot, Pete.
What a bad spot, Pete.
Oh my God, dude. That was just, I mean, and it just only got more bizarre from there.
Yeah. And how long do you think that it rained for?
Hours. I'm talking 3 hours.
Real okay. I would not have remembered that. I because I've blacked that part
At
out.
least 2 hours. At
Okay.
least two
A
hours,
couple
man.
hours because it wasn't like just raining, like it was like
No, it was a
water faucet pouring out of the
torrential
sky.
downpour, fucking sideways, blowing. Because I remember it took probably well over an hour after it quit raining just to get things up and working again.
Well, before we get there, let's just
But
bring
yeah,
it to
well,
the let's
there
just
was a
bring it
little there was a
bring it
little issue in between there and there when
easy
that made
tiger.
us decide to get things working again.
First off, when it stopped raining, everyone came to the realization that what they chose for this site, for this stage, was a marsh. And this was the low end of the marsh. And we had just been through a drought cycle. And every single fucking tent was underwater. All that, like everyone's shit was floating around, man. And it was almost knee
I
deep
remember
by
the
the
front of
stage.
the stage was behind the stage. It was fucking
Fucking deep.
hip deep. I don't know. I wasn't going in it, man. Jenny was in it running. I was like,
The
I'm
Jenny
staying
was
up
in it and
here.
running.
I'm not going down there. I'm staying up here. I mean, that was what I had. I was just. It was about. I was in survival mode at that point, man. It was like I'm not
Bro,
going down there.
there
I'm
was
staying up
and
here. They
there
can't
was
get
not one light for the site, like a
no, there were
light.
no work lights, no nothing.
There wasn't a porta potty on the site. You know,
Yeah,
there
I
was there
know.
was there was nothing, and all of these tents were now underwater. And what was happening when this deluge happened, and as you say, that's when the fucking boat tart collapsed with all that rain on it and just crushed everything on stage just
Oh, it was
went down.
the only thing that didn't get hit was Monitor World because I had,
Martyr
you
was
know,
was tarped up.
yeah, I just wrapped it. Like
Yeah,
I
just
would used
wrapped
to
it.
be my thing. I always wrapped them, man. Just
Right. So the Molly Hatchet band and the crew start taking their gear
yeah, they were leaving, man.
and
They were
putting it on the bus. They weren't even
they were leaving.
opening the bay doors
I
because the
remember
fucking
that.
water was too deep.
They were leaving,
They were, bro. I remember cymbals on stands going up into the bus.
man.
Right, right.
That's when the bikers freaked out, man.
And that's when
That's
the
when they
bikers freaked out.
they freaked out,
They
man.
freaked
Oh.
out. And what did they do? First off, the Molly Hatchet bus got stuck in the mud trying to escape.
Yeah, the bus couldn't get away,
Bus
and the
couldn't get
bikers
away.
went on there with a fucking gun and drug them out. They drug them out and they fucking pulled a gun at us and said, "You guys are not leaving. You're staying and you're gonna work." And I remember them saying, "We paid for you. We're gonna have a show." And it was like, okay.
I remember saying to the guy, I said, I just don't know what I could make work. What can work after being underwater? And he goes, well, you better make something work.
Yeah, they were adamant about it, man.
They were adamant about it. And I don't know for sure if they roughed up that singer. What was his name?
They drug them through the fucking mud, dude. See, what happened was the bus got stuck. And like I said, it took us at least an hour to get things to a level that we could play or put a show on. And he was on the bus drinking. And then I remember the bikers went back there and said, "Okay, it's time to go on." And the whole band comes out, and Danny Joe Brown didn't come out. And he was all drunk, passed out in back of the bus, yelling, "Fuck you, I ain't fucking playing." And they drug him through the mud in his $400 ostrich skin boots, as I remember. and they threw him on stage. Because I remember the band started and they were like doing some blues instrumental, waiting on Drunk Boy to fucking get up there up on stage to play. So finally, they bring him on stage, and he starts singing, and he starts He would sing a verse, and he'd run over to the side of the stage, and he would puke because he was all drunk.
Because you were on stage doing monitors.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, he tried running into the monitor world to puke. I spun his ass around and put the boot to him. And get the fuck out of here.
Got no friends here, buddy.
He puked all over Tommy's abs. And the fucking guitarist is fucking screaming at the tech to clean that shit up. And this fucker's falling down drunk on stage, man. Throwing up. So that was the Molly Hatchet show.
Yeah, because at that point, I'm still at front of house with Leslie West. Right? And we're all fucking hostages there. Right?
Oh, we weren't going anywhere.
No, we were literally hostages at gunpoint, and there was no cell service. There was no
food. There was no nothing, Pete. They wouldn't give. We didn't have beer. We had bottled water, and that was it.
Yeah.
There was nothing.
There was nothing.
Because I remember
a sandwich.
I remember Frank or Tommy had like a bag of Doritos, and I was like, "Can I have some?"
You're not eating that whole bag, are you?
You got food?
You know, and so we get Molly Hatchet off the stage. I don't remember how they got the bus out of there, but we get Leslie and his
group.
They
towed it out.
They towed it out.
Yeah.
They towed it out because I remember it being in front of the stage, like at the front of the stage, right?
Yeah, like it was off to the side.
Off to the side, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they towed it out. They got them out of there.
Yeah, I remember. That's all I remember about that.
I think Molly Hatchet was the only band with a bus.
That's true. That's 100% true.
The other guys were in vans, and you know, were.
So we got Leslie up there, right? And I think I mixed them, and you did monitors.
I did.
Right.
I did. Yeah.
And then I remember no big kerfuffle, and he was.
That one went okay. It was Leslie.
He was the best, and he was certainly thrilled to leave. And then we got we got Starship up, and I remember me and you switched, and I went to monitors, and you came out in front of the house.
It was fucking. By then it was 3 a.m, and we were just fucking so done and so burnt. And
it had to be 3 a.m. when they went on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. We had Starship next, and by then it was 3 in the fucking morning. It was
so fucking cold. You know, I'll tell you what
I remember. I came up on stage and you were sleeping. You were sleeping across the board, man. And I was just like, "Oh, Pete, wake up, man!" Get up.
John, I remember I was sleeping in a puddle, and you came on stage and kicked me. Get up! You fucking do it. Good drown.
Oh,
man. That puddle might have been on the console. That's just how I remember it. I remember definitely you waking me up and kicking me. Go, what the fuck? What the fuck? So we do Starship, right? We get Starship done, and let me tell you, the last time that I ever saw Marty, the singer from Starship, right? What's his name?
Marty something.
Marty something.
Balin? Marty Balin.
But he was carrying 2 keyboard cases, right? Because everyone in the band had something, right in their hands to get the fuck out of here, right? But since he's not very tall, and since the water was so deep, he was unable to lift them all the way out through the water. As they're like treading in the water. Right? And he trips, bro. He trips and he face plants straight forward. And like for a second, the only thing he was those elbows sticking out of the water. Still holding on to this.
That fucking gig, man. We should have a reunion.
Oh, bro, we're not even done, man. So
yeah. The fun was about to begin.
The fun's about to begin. So me and you, we're the audio crew, and God knows the bikers aren't helping us. Right? I don't even remember how we got the console to the stage.
We had no help, at that point.
But we had left PW style, left the truck butted up against the stage.
Yeah, we did that.
We did that.
I
Right?
can't remember if we did front of house first. I think we did. I can't remember.
Can't remember, but I know this. I know when we loaded that fucking truck, it sank to the goddamn axles.
It just sunk. It was all it did was sink. The
All
only truck that left that night was Stazone or Frank.
Yeah.
Stazone didn't get out. Stazone had to get pulled out. But man, our truck sank when it got. Oh, it was bad.
It sank. So here's what we do. Me and you drove there together.
Yeah.
Right. So we leave together, and we got to go wake up Bob Bach at 4 o'clock in the morning. Now it's 5 o'clock in the morning, and say, "Hey, Bob, we're not going to be at this rock and reggae fest in 2 hours
Not
because
happening.
they go, well, can't you get the truck?" I said, "Bro, the fucking truck. I mean."
I remember talking to Juris at 7 in the morning, going, "Dude, it ain't happening. You're not listening to me. What do you mean you can't get it?"
I tell you what, it's like it's really good therapy going through this with you, because this has been weighing on me for 30 fucking plus years, right? So then I don't even think that like we went home and did like a sleep and come home kind of thing.
We did. I went home for like 2 hours and slept.
It was quick.
We went back out. We got back out there about noon or 1 in the afternoon.
Right. And I had called a wrecker,
a tow service
to come out and meet us there. We had to give them like the GPS locations or some. I remember like describing how to get there was ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
And we get out there, and what do you remember seeing when we showed up?
A stuck wrecker.
Stuck
truck.
The bikers had brought out a
big semi.
What do you call that thing? The
backhoe.
A backhoe. And and it was stuck.
Well, everything was stuck. There was a tractor stuck. There was a fucking backhoe stuck. They had brought a semi out with long chains. It was stuck. The wrecker got stuck.
The guy that we hired to come out there, right? The guy that we hired came out there, does one lap around the thing and sinks sideways, and now he was fucking stuck. I was like, oh my God. The guy that I had
pull him out.
And boy, and if you thought the bikers at gunpoint, I mean, first off, we should have called the police and never went back there. That's the professional thing to do. We should have called the cops and had the sheriff go out there. But Ohio hillbilly style, me and you, it's like we're getting this done.
Yeah, we got to get this. This is our job. We got to do this.
This is our job. We got to do this
because we owe them that much.
And boy, the bikers were not fucking happy with us.
No.
And we certainly weren't happy with them. And so what did me and you do? There was one tractor that wasn't hooked up to a trailer that was a cab over that was not stuck, that was on the only dry spot of land, right?
Yeah.
And you left the car at the edge where that long road came in that was at the dry spot, right? And at that point, the only thing that wasn't in the mud was your car
and
that truck and that one truck, right? So we hook up a long chain to the 24. I get in it, right? The guy pulls us out, and we pull it out, and now we're rolling. And I was like, John, unhook it. And I just kept going. And you and like a team, man, you were running alongside and you unhooked it. As we were driving. I never stopped moving. And bro,
that motherfucker got stuck.
And that motherfucker got stuck.
So he was stuck too.
And he was stuck too.
Like, keep it rolling, man. Get it the fuck out.
Keep it rolling. And the last thing I remember, bro, is looking in my rearview mirror and watching all those assholes chasing us. Like, holy Jesus. if I get this thing, if I get this thing
come
stuck,
back and help them.
they're gonna kill me.
Yeah, we're coming back to help you, you fuckers. And you know, that gig, you put the torrential downpour, the ungodly heat, the freezing rain and wind, the guns, the mud, the fear of electrocution, the fear of getting stomped,
The starvation, the low blood sugar. I mean,
no food for you.
I'm taking a shit in a cornfield.
Yeah, I think like deep down inside, I had really started thinking about making some decisions at that point in my employment with them.
I need a career.
I started really looking at things.
I need a career change. I tell you, man.
God.
People on the internet look at shows that I do, you know, this big arena thing and this award show, this and that, man. But man, nothing fucking like nobody would have went through what I went through to get to where I got to where I got. You know,
to get to where you're going, it's like the shit you see on the way up, and even you get to the top, there's still stupid shit going on everywhere.
Oh yeah.
It's just
that I got catering and I've been paid.
You get paid, man. So you know,
I get paid, yeah,
and you get paid well. You get paid better,
yeah,
and you know it's and you get breaks, and yeah, it's fucking crazy, man.
But you know that goes back to that what I call that Ohio Midwest work ethic that we had through all of it was, you know,
we're not pussies. We can do it.
We're not pussies, man. You know, we do this and we do it in the cold. You know.
No, it's yeah, that's a thing that definitely in Ohio. I don't know. It's a generational thing for sure. You don't see that kind of driving in fuckers nowadays.
No.
Shit, you pull a gun out at a gig, they might fucking call the National Guard on you.
Listen, I think I have a memory of you of bringing a 357 Magnum to a Snoop show and putting it on the Honor Council.
You remember correctly.
I think I was the front of house guy for that.
Yep, you remember.
We'll have no shenanigans here.
Not here, not tonight. You know, I came here to work. Just let me do my job, and everything will be fine.
Because to put that in perspective, we were doing a lot of shows at that time when gangster rap first came out, when there was a lot of fucking riots,
scary shit, gunfire out in the crowds, and fucking scary shit. You know, backstage was just one big ass party, man.
Oh my God, there was more. 200 people standing on stage.
You know, I used to put the cue wedges right where you have to walk in the fucking thing, and if someone came up there, I'd point that cue wedge right at them and crank it, man. I learned that from you, I believe.
Yeah. My cue up the hi-hat technique.
Yeah, hi-hat time. Hi-hat and snare.
Yeah, that's why I have no hearing on my left side. I'm teaching other people a lesson. Fucking funny stuff, John. I mean, my God, you know, we did a lot of gigs together in the flats too. You remember some of that stupid shit? Those stupid outdoor things we would do for the this and that carnival.
Oh man,
that's
a lot of. I'm trying to think. There was the one. Are you talking about the bar gigs along the river bottom?
No, well, there's a lot of that, but
are you talking like the Bicentennial or Taste of Cleveland and all that shit?
Yeah, probably all that shit. The rib cook-offs, you know.
The rib cook-offs. Oh God, you know.
we did the Canton rib cook-off, Akron, and God knows the Cleveland. Yeah.
Did the Pittsburgh rib burn-off? Cleveland. Then there was the Taste of Cleveland. We used to do that. And I just remember doing gigs with you on these Belkin shows, and you know, I think I heard you say the funniest thing I ever heard in my life at those shows. But we were talking about the messy guy. And I remember saying he worked for the Balkans, our friend Mr. D. And
Oh,
I remember saying we were laughing at him over something he did. And I remember saying, Pete, look at him. What kind of girls do you think he dates, Pete? And you looked right at me with a straight face and you said, John, the $20 kind. And I could never look at that motherfucker ever again in my life without laughing at him. I felt bad about it my whole rest of my time there. But every time I looked at him, all I could think of was you saying that, and I would laugh.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
You know, I remember us one time, I don't know what happened. We were in Toledo, I think, Toledo, Ohio. There was a snowstorm or something, and we got stuck there. And there was nothing open and nowhere to go except this fucking strip club called Brenda's Body Shop. Do you remember that?
Dude,
It's probably a good thing you don't remember.
no, bring me back. Come on.
Oh my God, dude. It was the most hardcore strip club I've ever seen, man. And I'm not saying like hardcore sexualized, I'm saying hardcore fucking hillbilly, man. I mean, pregnant dancers with no teeth and
Nice.
and we were in there and I just remember, we were afraid to get drunk because it was shady. But I remember
But we fit right in.
I remember you leading this girl out. Well, they thought we were fucking rock stars. We told we were in town to do this show or whatever. I just remember you leading this poor girl on, and she thought we were serious, man. You were trying to be nice to her, and she thought you were hitting on her. It was hilarious, and she kept trying to pick us up, and we were like being nice, but no, yeah, that was weird.
God, a night at a quality strip club in Toledo.
Toledo, Ohio.
Who could hate that, man?
Well, I mean, I've always thought there was a competition between Erie, PA, and Toledo, Ohio, and which was worse. Which one of these is worse?
Yeah, Jones and I once did a 3-day festival in Erie, Pennsylvania, that they sent us to, right? And
The Erie Arts and Cultural Fest.
it might have been. Did you do it?
I did it about 4 or 5 times, man.
It might have been.
I did it with Jones a bunch of times.
Might have been, and they had the stage facing where so it would be in the sun all day long, right?
Yeah.
And they had this black marley down for these dancers.
Yep.
For these belly.
They wouldn't take it up.
They wouldn't take it up, right? So I'm in front of house, and this Hindu group comes out, and I got their music, all queued up and ready to go, and I'm playing that, and these guys come out, and they're just jumping around. I was like, wow, this is some wild dancing they're doing, Never seen dancing like this before. You know why? Because they're barefoot, and that fucking Marley's 115.
Oh yeah, I was at that show one year, right? And this woman was the promoter, Ruth. She looked like a big bulldog. This old fucking 80-year-old woman, man. She did this when she walked, and yeah,
I'm really.
And she used to come around and fucking, give everyone a hard time every year. And they moved the venue to one year to this little amphitheater. They finally put it somewhere smart in a park with a little amphitheater. And
let's take it off the street.
This bitch drives up in her fucking 1978 Ford Esquire LTD wagon, loaded to the gills, fucking bumper dragging, got all this, I don't know, Archfest stuff in the back, signs hanging out the back and shit. And what does she do? She fucking pulls up and parks right on the snake. You got to move that. I'll move my car when I'm ready. Yeah, we got to move your car off the snake right now. It's
Yeah, yeah,
you
you're
know.
crushing the show.
Yeah. Now this is an RCS snake anyway. We've already got
Half of it already
4 or
doesn't
5
work.
panels that don't work, right? So
Half of it
I have
doesn't work.
those figured out, and I'm safe, right? So, so she gets mad and leaves her fucking car parked there. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm ready to call a tow truck. And
Yeah.
finally, she comes back, and I says, oh, I called Z, and it was his client, and he called her. She came. You didn't have to call. Blah blah blah. Gets in her car and punches it and burns out on the fucking snake, man.
Oh my god.
Oh, the drive line, they're both torn, and it's fucking, and it's showtime in an hour and a half, and I'm like, yeah. Hey, Sapola, you got to bring me another snake. He brought this shit out in his car, man.
Well, I tell you, that happened to us.
Those people, man, in Erie. Oh.
That happened to us July 4th, 1997, for the 50th anniversary of the Hells Angels in Hollister, California. When they told us to get 10,000 people, there's like 100,000, and there's they bring John Kay on the stage with all these chicks naked on top of this Rolls Royce limo, and I'm just watching hundreds of Harleys turf the fucking snake. the only thing that's the only thing that saved our lives was that my theory is that the first couple bikes turfed it down into the dirt.
There you go.
Yeah,
this was on pavement, so it wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, that same Erie Fest, Jones was on stage doing monitors. I go up there, and it was that guy Rick Emmett from that band Triumph.
Mm-hmm.
Remember him? Great guy, and great
guitar player.
Great player.
Yeah.
But he, like, Jones and I are talking about something, and he goes, Mr. Monitor Man, Mr. Monitor Man, and Jones, without even looking over at him, looks right at me and goes, if that guy asks me for one more thing, he's gonna have to put me on the payroll.
Oh, Jones, how is he? You talk to him at all?
I talk to him all the time. He's fantastic, man.
Good for him.
He is fantastic.
Good for him.
He's fantastic. Yes, he does. So, John, so how'd you get out of the business?
One, I was fried. I hated corporate work. I mean, it was just boring.
It's brutally boring. When you go from adrenaline concert to corporate.
I mean, setup days, rehearsal days. I mean, it's just boring. But you get past that, and what happened? So Bush and Cheney crashed the economy. What was it, about 08, 09?
Yep.
And then Obama took over. And like between that November and that January, my company lost like $7 million worth of corporate business.
Yeah.
That's when they were all looking at waste and, the car companies. And we had clients like Nationwide, who did these massive private parties down in the Cayman Islands, and had people like Alan Jackson and Seal entertain them in ballrooms. I mean, just stupid.
Yeah, for anybody that's never been inside that corporate event world, it is stunning how much money they could waste throwing a party. And
Richard Marx. We had Richard Marx play at a party. $90,000 for him to do a 75-minute set.
Yeah.
But anyways, so the economy crashes, and I got laid off, Pete.
Mm-hmm.
They laid off probably 35 out of 50 of us. They gutted the place. And then they brought about 10 people back right away. And then they were contracting everybody out to do gigs. And I just said, you know what? I don't like this being laid off. I've got house payments, blah, blah, blah. I said, maybe it's time for me to try something else. So I started fixing cars on the side. I was collecting unemployment. And next thing you know, I've got more car work than I could possibly handle or know what to do with. I mean, I'm working out of my garage and I'm working out of my fiance, now my wife. I'm working out of her garage. I got two and a half car garages I'm working out of, and I need more space. And I said, you know what? Now, all the time, you didn't notice about me, I was a gearhead and had motorcycles and cars all my life. So, I had a 70 Challenger when I was 16 years old, 344 speed car. So I just started working on cars, man. And after my unemployment ran for a year and it was coming up, and I remember Bartha called me and asked me if I wanted to come back. And I said, give me a couple of days. And I thought about it and I looked at what I was doing and I said, no.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm going to take a chance. And I was looking for a commercial building to open up, and I had it all worked out, budgeted in. I could have, afford a few grand a month rent, no problem. And I found this house in this shop behind me in the city of Columbus, rurally zoned with 3 acres of land and pole barn out back and running water and heat, and said, I'm going to work here.
Yeah. Beautiful.
I mean, dude, I walked right into this place. I got so fucking lucky. I mean, it's great. I got, a drain in my floor. I got 15-foot ceilings with lifts. Only thing I put in here were lifts and tools. The rest was here.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to have. I want to say a couple things. Right. First off, it's beautiful to control your own destiny. And second thing is that one of the reasons that you were so popular as a technician in the audio business, in the concert business, in the event business is because people trust you. And that's the part of the success of your automotive business is that people trust you. And that's what it's all about. You go to who do you trust? I trust John. Because back to John will get it done because John's willing to stay until 4 o'clock in the morning in the mud and be a gunfight with bikers. He's certainly willing to get your muffler tight.
I think it. Pete, if there's anything I learned, and I learned it in the audio business, is that if you're willing to put the time in and work, you can get anything done.
Yeah.
I mean, like I say, we used to do so much with so little compared to nowadays. Those last few years, the company I was with, man, they had everything and anything you needed. And if they didn't, they got it for you. It was just like that. And, that was a change. And, and I went out and worked a bunch of hookah shows since then. And I was working with one band in particular who's former hookah members that actually had a record contract.
And we're talking about the band Acoustic Hookah, which were very popular for a piece of time.
Yeah. So, I've been to quite a few festivals over the past 10 years that I've got to keep up with some of the gear and get on a little bit of it and keep my feet wet at least. I like the Midas digital boards. They're badass. But I still prefer an analog board, but that's just me. I don't know.
Hey, my buddy that still mixes the Stones, man. PM4000, baby.
I think they sound well. But hey, if he likes them, man, you got to go with what you like. You can't beat these digital consoles for the ease of convenience. I mean, we used to drag so much shit around, dude.
Well, let me flip that around for you, okay? I did Jingle Ball at Madison Square Garden in 1997, and I had 6 monitor consoles on the side of the stage, 1 PM4000 and 5 Ramses all linked up, right? So that's 6 monitor consoles that I had so I could do 10 bands, right? Now I do Jingle Ball. I've got 10 track acts. I've got fucking 14 consoles on the side of the stage, all of them digital. And then the other part is that we used to chart the console. and that
Yeah.
took time. But now we program the console, and that takes more time. And I don't know. I mean, I love how they sound, as far as that goes, and the manipulation of information and be able to recall it instantly. Because at the end of the day, in my world of television events, mixing is all about capturing information, storing information, and then recalling information.
Okay.
That's the three basic elements of it, and that's what that format does best. But musically, you could tell the difference between a gamble and a digital console
Yeah.
listening to it. And I did a gig at Terminal 5. A buddy of mine had a PA install in there, and I owned the monitor rig. And we had a Vertec giant. It was like driving a Ferrari in a parking lot. I had 32 18s under the stage, John. It was ridiculous. And I had a Midas Heritage console, right? And whenever the bands would come in and bring their digital console, and I'm mixing the opening act on the analog console, every fucking time, every show, it's a problem. It's like, how come this sounds this way? I was like, listen, don't complain to me that the opening band sounds better. Let's
Yeah.
ask the question: why is the headliner sound like shit? We're reversing. What's the problem here?
That's funny.
Uh,
There's a certain amount of warmth afforded to analog consoles that you just can't reach with a digital. I mean, I that's what I believe as far, when you're dealing with music. But
yep.
I don't know. I don't know enough about it technically anymore to say too much because I'll get myself in trouble.
Oh,
I
and
haven't kept I haven't kept up, I mean, what I see, and I've been to some shows, and I try to pay attention to what's going on. I like all the new LED lighting.
oh, listen, the lights look great and the video is phenomenal and the PA sounds amazing. I mean, Jesus Christ, man.
PAs are neat, man.
the
Right
P,
now,
the PAs I
so
put
clean.
up.
They're so clean. They're loud, and you can't even tell they're loud because it's that clean. You know.
I'll tell you something else will blow your mind, John. At Jingle Ball, I hang 36 points of audio, right? And
Wow.
we have one amp rack per side on stage, right? And our loadouts for audio, two semis, average an hour. After thank you, good night. 1 hour, and I'm walking away. Thanks, guys.
That's
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 how fast that.
unbelievable.
That's how fast that curriculum. It's
See,
unbelievable.
that's what I hated about working in the corporate world. Those motherfuckers did not know how to hustle to get in a gig
Drip,
or out of it,
drip.
or out of a gig. It's like, what do you mean we're still loading fucking trucks? That shit's been on a goddamn dock for hours. You
Yeah.
know, and they'd look at me like, "What's wrong with him?" It's like, well, I want to go fucking home.
I want to go home.
Hello, I'd like to
I
go
want.
home.
I want to get out of here. Yeah, we designed that show 100% around the loadout. That's how the audio rig is put together, so we can get the fuck
That's a
out of
big
here.
show, man. That's a
It
big
is.
show.
It is.
It really is.
It is
I
absolutely.
looked at some of the logistics of that and said, "Wow,
It is. We get 10 bands a night. It's a lot of CAC. And we tour with. There's 17. There's 17 of us on the audio crew.
that's crazy.
Wrap your head around
That's
that.
crazy."
If that, I mean,
So,
think about that.
are you doing broadcast trucks too, recording trucks, or any of that too, or is it
Me
it's all?
personally,
No, I mean the show itself. I mean, does it
oh
everywhere it
yeah,
goes?
we're live. We're broadcast live in L.A. and New York on that tour. In the other 8 cities,
Okay,
they just do a audio feed.
okay.
Yeah, and
Well,
somebody mixes that and sends that out.
mm-hmm.
And the only thing that means to me, John, the only thing that means to me is if it's a TV gig, that means there's going to be a travel track for a camera down the center, which means I'm going to split the subs to left and right.
And that's it.
And if it's not, then I'm going to do my usual sub arrays. That's the only thing that I care about.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's it.
So what are you doing next?
Next for me is I Heart Country.
Oh,
in
okay.
Austin, Texas, next month.
Yeehaw.
And I go there with the same group of people. with the same stage, with the same PA, with the same rig from every other time, and we go in there and
Nice. As it should be.
as it should be. And us,
Sounds like you got a sweet gig.
not so. Well, you know what, John? I only work like 70 days out of the year, and I really only work in the fall.
Nice.
I'm off in the summer. I'm off in the spring.
See, I'm at a point now. That's great that you can do that, man. I'm at a point now. I'm semi-retired. I mean, I pick and choose the work I'm gonna do, and you know,
yeah.
people get mad. I don't want to work on their stuff. Well, your shit's greasy, and I don't want to work on it. But his shit's clean, and I'm gonna work on it. I mean,
yeah,
it's come to that.
yeah.
I hate to say that, but
no,
it's come to that. So.
It's all the way that my I have two younger brothers. One of them works for PRG, and one of them's at Radio City. And as disgruntled as those two cunts are, I tell them all the time: is that think about how much you care today. You are at your maximum care point. it only goes one direction from here.
It comes up. I don't know, man. I never regret the time I spent on the road doing production.
Yeah.
I met the best people, the very best, the kind of people you would want to take anywhere, anytime, and they had your back covered. Like guys like you. I mean, and some people you just hit it off with, and some not so much. But
yep.
I mean, it takes a special breed to work in that. And after working in the, I left the business a couple times, Pete. I failed the first time because I came back. And I was doing AV installs and stuff for that same corporate company, but it was different. And it's like it's so easy to go into the regular working world and run circles around these people. Literally, they have no sense of urgency. They have, and you know what? Normal day life jobs don't require the kind of dedication that production takes.
Yeah.
I mean, in the, you know as well as I do, there is no we can't when there's a show scheduled. The show's going to happen.
The show's going to happen.
The show's going to happen. You fucking chop half your foot off. You're going to hospital. The show's going to happen.
The show's going to happen.
It doesn't matter. So I think I don't regret it any time at all, but I'm glad I got out of it because I got out at a young enough age where I was able to get some of my real life in. I mean, I regret not being around for the kids growing up, but my first wife, she knew what I did when she met me. So, but I mean, stuff like that, but I never had a chance to learn the family value and, relationship value, to have a good marriage because I was never around. I was either off partying or off playing gigs.
How do you have a good marriage when you're gone 18 hours a day?
That's just it, and so I think I walked away at about the age of 45, right around there. And I had 24, 25 years in.
That's enough.
It was enough for me. I don't miss it, Pete. I miss the people.
Yeah.
But, I hear you tell tales of a lot of shit that's gone on since I left. And you just go, man, I don't miss that. And I'm on some of the like stagehand humor and roadie pages, and it's like, I really don't miss that. Some of the,
well, the thing is, John, is that when I'm here in my house, I don't miss it either. And it's like mission impossible to get me to leave my property and get me to go anywhere. But once I'm physically on the plane, and once I'm there, I'm like a fish that you just dropped in the water. Boop. like, this is my environment. I thrive in this environment. I thrive with these kind of people. I thrive around this. I know what to do. I don't have to think too hard about what's going on. I just do it. I've been hanging speakers from the ceiling for 45 fucking years.
I think I got to a point, Pete. I was so burned out. I wasn't enjoying it anymore.
That's another discussion.
And that's where it was nice. It was nice getting back out. Or I went out with did a bunch of gigs from about 2013 to 2015, and got out on some nice big festival rigs all around the country, and it was so nice to get out and enjoy myself again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was the last stuff I did. Well, actually, the last show I did was a New Year's show with Kusta Kuka, like in 2015. But to me, I'm done.
Yeah, beautiful.
Maybe if somebody really asked me, I might do something, but I like leaving it right where it was. I walked out of the Cleveland Agora smiling, so something went right.
Well,
I walked out the back side door of the Cleveland Agora stage smiling and said that was good, So I think I'll leave it right there.
John,
that's what I thought.
That's the best place to leave it, man. That's the best place to leave it.
My last gig, I thought.
That was your last gig with Cleveland Agora?
Yeah, so far, yeah. I haven't. Yeah.
You know what? I've got it in my will for somebody to put my ashes into the confetti cannon at the Cleveland Agora and have me blown all over the mosh pit.
And an ICP show.
It's got to be something low class, so I'll fit in.